Okay, today I'm standing at the historical sign for Colonel John McIntosh in McIntosh County in Pine Harbor. And this is his grave, John McIntosh's grave right here. John McIntosh was a hero of the Revolutionary War. He was commanded to Fort Morris in Midway in 1778. The British wanted him to surrender the fort, and he told the British, come and take it. And they did eventually. John McIntosh has been buried 3 different times. I'll tell you about that in just a minute. Colonel John McIntosh moved to Florida and was imprisoned by the Spanish in Morro Castle in Havana, Cuba for 1 year. John McIntosh died in 1826 and was buried on Fairhope Plantation. John McIntosh inherited Fairhope after the death of William McIntosh in 1801. After John McIntosh's death in 1826, he was buried by the Sapelo River, which is right over there. In 1826, John McIntosh was buried in a wooden coffin by the Sapelo River. In 1848, there was a hurricane, and John McIntosh's coffin was washed into the Sapelo River, so he was retrieved and was buried again. December 8, 2006, there were some people cleaning some bushes by the Sapelo River, and they found what looked like a large gas tank sticking out of the ground. And when they dug it up, they realized it was a coffin, an iron coffin. And this coffin was called a fist coffin, which was made out of iron and had a window in the front where you could see the deceased inside the coffin. This coffin were only bought by the wealthy. They cost $100 a coffin. Back then it was a lot of money, and a wooden coffin cost $1 back then. So in 1848, John McIntosh was buried again in a fist coffin and was discovered in 2006 when it popped up. So they took the coffin to the Darien funeral home for 4 years to study and find out who it belonged to and where it was supposed to be buried again. 2006, when the coffin popped up, it was near the marsh, so it popped up again near the marsh. This was the second time it popped up, and they took it to Darien Funeral Home and did some research. It took 4 years for them to find out who it was and where to bury it. The way they realized it was John McIntosh, they found a piece of a leather chap, and they realized it was his. On October 23rd, 2010, 184 years after his first burial, he was buried right here in this spot, away from the marsh, further in, so he could stay here and not get washed up anymore. John McIntosh was presented a sword by the Georgia legislator with engraved on it, "Come and take it," just like it's mentioned on his tombstone right here.